Hello, welcome to Micro Podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio. Today, we are stepping into a space that feels a bit quiet, a bit tender, and incredibly necessary. We're talking about the art of forgiving ourselves for the mistakes we've made in the past.
It is a heavy one, Mara. It is probably the most frequent topic that comes up when people talk about their inner lives. We carry these invisible backpacks filled with stones of regret, and we don't even realize how much they are slowing us down until we stop to look at them.
Warmly nodding. Exactly. And those stones, they feel so personal, don't they? It is that cringy memory that hits you at 3 a.m, or that deep-seated regret about a relationship or a career choice. Robert, why is it so much easier to forgive a friend than it is to forgive the person in the mirror?
Riley, with a hint of a smile, because we are the only ones who know the full context of our intentions, but we are also our own most biased prosecutors. When a friend fails, we see their humanity. When we fail, we see it as a fundamental flaw in our character. We confuse "I did a bad thing" with "I am a bad person."
With an audible sigh of realization. I am a bad person. That shift from the verb to the noun is where the poison is, isn't it? I remember a few years ago, I made a mistake at work that cost my team a lot of time. Even after my boss told me it was okay, I couldn't let it go. I felt like a fraud for months.
I can hear the weight in your voice even now, Mara. That fraud feeling is shame, and shame thrives in the dark. Forgiveness is the act of turning the lights on. It's about looking at that version of yourself, the one who made the mistake, and realizing she didn't have the tools or the perspective you have today.
That is such a huge point. We judge our past selves with our current knowledge. It's like being mad at a 5-year-old for not knowing how to drive. We weren't the person then that we are now. So, Robert, how do we actually start the process? How do we put the backpack down?
Clinically but kindly. The first step is what I call the radical acknowledgement. You have to stop running from the memory. You sit with it. You say, yes, I did that. It happened. It caused pain. You don't minimize it, but you don't magnify it into a life sentence either. You give it a shape and a boundary.
Thoughtfully. So instead of a cloud that follows me everywhere, it becomes a specific event on a timeline. I like that. But what about the guilt? That nagging feeling that if I forgive myself, I'm somehow getting away with it.
Earnestly leaning in. That is a common trap. We think our suffering is a payment for the mistake. But here is the truth. Your self-flagellation doesn't help the people you hurt, and it certainly doesn't make the world better. True accountability is about learning and changing, and you can't grow in a soil that is saturated with self-hate.
Moved, voice slightly trembling. You can't grow in a soil saturated with self-hate. That is going to stick with me. It's like we're trying to punish ourselves into being better people, but it just makes us more brittle. It makes us hide.
Supportively. Exactly. Think about a child who makes a mistake. If you scream at them and tell them they are worthless, they don't learn. They just learn to hide their mistakes better. We have to be the compassionate parent to our own inner child. We have to say, hey, you messed up, but you are still worthy of love and a second chance.
Smiling with a touch of hope. Let's talk about a practical tool. One thing that helped me was writing a letter. Not to the person I hurt, though that can be part of it, but a letter to my younger self, to that version of Mara who was scared or overwhelmed and made a bad call.
Enthusiastically. I love that exercise. It's powerful because it forces you to practice empathy. When you see that version of yourself, the one who made the mistake, you realize she wasn't a villain. She was just a human under pressure.
Thoughtful pause. And it's not about making excuses. It's about finding the why so you can ensure it doesn't happen again. Once you understand the why, the what becomes a lesson instead of a burden. It's like the mistake becomes part of your wisdom rather than part of your identity.
With conviction. Precisely. Wisdom is just healed pain. If you haven't forgiven yourself, that pain is still an open wound. It's still raw. But when you forgive, it scars over. The scar is still there, you don't forget, but it doesn't hurt when you touch it anymore. You can move again.
Softly. I think some of our listeners might be thinking, but my mistake was too big. You don't know what I did. To the person sitting in their car or walking their dog right now, feeling like their mistake is unforgivable, What do you say to them, Robert?
Gently, with deep sincerity, I would say that your capacity for remorse is the very proof of your goodness. If you were truly a bad person, you wouldn't be haunted by this. The fact that it hurts shows how much you value being a good, kind human being. Don't let one chapter define the whole book. You are still holding the pen.
Tearing up slightly. You are still holding the pen. That is so powerful. We can choose how the next chapter starts. We can choose to be the person who learned from the tragedy or the mistake, rather than the person who was destroyed by it. Supportively. It takes time, though. Forgiveness isn't a one-time event. It's a practice. Some days that backpack will feel light, and other days it will feel like lead again. On those days, you just have to be extra gentle. You just have to remind yourself that you are a work in progress. Cheerfully, with a sense of release. I feel lighter just talking about this. I hope everyone listening feels like they can breathe a little deeper now. Maybe today is the day you decide to be a little bit kinder to yourself. Maybe today you let one of those stones fall out of the backpack.
Smiling. Just one stone at a time, Mara. That's all it takes. Thank you for opening up this space today. It's been a beautiful conversation.
Thank you, Robert. And thank you to all of you for joining us. Remember, you are worthy of the same grace you give so freely to the rest of the world. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.